The Nets' big three has dominated the headlines, while LeBron and the Lakers have been the favorites all year. But in terms of betting in the first half of the season, the Utah Jazz and Zion's Pelicans were the biggest stories.
Zion on the hammer! That's a grown man that's not yet 21 years old.
Zion has the offense humming, but New Orleans is in the bottom 5 in points allowed, and the over has hit in more than 70% of their games, tops in the NBA. The Jazz have the best record and also have been the best team against the point spread, yet they still have the 5th shortest odds to win the championship, trailing the Lakers, Nets, Clippers, and even the Bucks. That could mean bad news for Utah. The last 6 NBA champs all entered the All-Star break with either the lowest or the second lowest odds. If that trend continues, the Lakers or the Nets are the best bets to raise the Larry O'Brien trophy. LeBron also heads into the second half as the co-favorite to win MVP.
James, look out!
A 5th MVP, which would tie LeBron with MJ, looked like a pretty safe bet a few weeks ago. But Joel Embiid, who started the season at 40-1, has closed the gap with the walking triple-double Nikola Jokic not far behind. And with the Western Conference standings getting tighter by the day,
Curry way downtown, it's good!
long shots could emerge in more ways than one after the All-Star break. So we turn the page and look ahead to the second half. Where are we on the futures market? Lakers, obviously, wire to wire, as the reigning champs are still your overall favorites. The Nets, with their acquisition of James Harden, have closed the gap 3-1, so right behind the Lake Show. Clippers lurking. And then the Bucks and Jazz at plus 850, although they are currently the number 1 overall seed. Joe Fortenbaugh joins me. So the Lakers have been dominant. They are the defending champs. We're kind of waiting for AD to return. You see any value amongst those top teams?
The Sixers at 14-1. 14-1 implies a 6% chance. A 6% chance to win the championship when you have the best record in the East, the 3rd best record in the NBA, a bona fide MVP candidate in Joel Embiid, a top 5 defense, and a general manager in Daryl Morey who's likely to try to pull something off before the trade deadline. 14-1. By comparison, the Nets are 3-1. Now, I'm not necessarily going to say the Sixers are that much better than the Nets, but are they 3-1 versus 14-1 worse? I don't see it. A 6% chance is low in my opinion. I take a shot on Phil.
Currently the 1 seed, can't fault you at all. We're sort of jaded by previous Sixers teams. This is a different era. You mentioned Daryl Morey. I'm looking at the defending conference champs. It was a quick turnaround from the bubble. Lakers have shown some wear and tear, if you will. Even Denver has been struggling getting out the gate. I think Miami starting to get healthy. Dragic just returned. When Butler plays, this team has the makings that reminds you of last year's Eastern Conference Championship. We know Pat Riley's willing to make some moves. There's buzz about guys like Kyle Lowry, maybe even Blake Griffin, who recently was bought out. At 50-1, I think I have to get involved. Now, are they likely? No. But I think Brooklyn's the team to beat for sure. But Durant and Kyrie Irving have their injury history, right? You can't run from it. And even Durant the last month or so. So at some point, it could rear its ugly head, and that's where you think we're going to have value in the East.
After what Miami did in the bubble last year, it's not like they're going to get into the playoffs this year and look around and be scared of anybody.
Right.
They'll go toe-to-toe with whoever.
Exactly, now that they're getting healthy. Let's bring in Anita Marks here for the first time. Anita, you live in the tri-state area. You back in one of those teams out there?
You bet I am, Doug, and that's the Nets, 3-1 to win the championship. I also like them to win the East, obviously, and you can get both at plus money. Listen, this is a Nets team. They are destroying people, and oh, by the way, arguably their best player is not on the court and hasn't been in quite a while. They're averaging over 120 points a game. They're 2nd in three-point shooting. Since Harden has joined the Nets, this is a Nets team that's only lost to 2 teams above 500. That was the 76ers and the Mavs. And I know the biggest concern is, they can't play defense. They can't. You know what? Defense is all about the heart, right? They can play defense when they want to. They held the Lakers to 98 points. And oh, by the way, their last 8 games, they're 11th in defensive efficiency. And reports today is there's a possibility that Blake Griffin can join their squad, giving them some depth off the bench. And look at their schedule in March. It's quite easy, with all due respect, no disrespect to the cellar dwellers, but their most competitive game doesn't happen until March 24th against the Jazz. So all the stars are aligning properly for the Nets, and my goodness, brace yourself when KD gets healthy and he's back on that court, guys. 3-1, I'm all over it.
Yeah, no, they are legit championship contenders. If they stay healthy, I don't think anybody in the East can really beat them, but it's fun to talk as maybe the injury. Tyler, anyone catch your eye here?
3 people have spoken here on Daily Wager, and not one has mentioned the literal best team in the NBA in the first half. The Utah Jazz at plus 850. I think that's tremendous value. Look, they are the only team in the association that is top 5 in both offensive and defensive rating. They're 4th in both of those metrics. They have the best net rating or point differential. They have the best record against the spread. They're the best rebounding team. They're the best three-point shooting team. Those are a lot of things that they are not just good at, but literally the best at in the NBA to try and overcome in a 7-game series. We know Donovan Mitchell is an alpha you can rely on in the postseason. We saw it last postseason when him and Jamal Murray were going back and forth. It probably should have been the Utah Jazz that faced the LA Lakers in the Western Conference Finals before they blew that 3-1 series lead. They're a better team this year. They got depth off the bench with Jordan Clarkson. Mike Conley's a veteran who can do anything. At plus 850, the Utah Jazz seem like a tremendous value at this moment in time.
Yeah, don't fault you at all. We've talked about it the last month or so. We definitely got involved at double digits, so that's kind of why I've forgotten about him. But even 850, I can't blame anyone.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.